My Gavana Melanin. So in this video, let's talk about the solar plex chakra. This is the area of your will and your determination. So after moving from the root chakra, where you start to feel that you are grounded in who you are, and you start to develop your ego identity, then you will move up into your sacral chakra, and your sacral chakra will be there in order to provide you your expression of emotions, your sensuality, your sexuality, and your will to reproduce and bring forth new life and new creation. And then you move to your solar plex, which will bring forth your self-confidence and your self-esteem. And if this area is not quite balanced, what ends up happening is that causes a very insecure person that will not move to the heart chakra. So it's very true, the idea that you have to love yourself in order to receive love and to give love back to others. It's very important for you to develop that self-love and that confidence and that self-esteem, because your solar plex, where that self-esteem and self-confidence of who you are, knowing who you are at the core, is very important for you in order to move into the heart chakra and to be able to receive love and to give out love. So the Manipura is actually the Sanskrit word for the solar plex chakra. In English, it has a beautiful meaning. It means jewel city. So if you think about it with the navel or solar plex chakra with the color of yellow, it's kind of like this yellow golden light. So you think about this jewel city that it's right in the center of the human soul, and it just radiates this beautiful golden light. So that's why it's called the jewel city. It is along the subtle body spine column that is a couple inches above the navel belly button. So that's where you can visualize that golden power and that golden light being able to rotate those discs and get that area unblocked in order to release that divine energy within you, in order to rise up to the heart so that you can experience love and you can experience true unconditional love, and you can give it out as well. So that is the Manipura. The seed mantra, in order to hum it or use music in order to help to activate that area, is Ram, R-A-M, Ram. And if you want to do a different A, you could say Ram, but I always do an open A, but Ram or Ram. And this is going to help to stimulate that area. So if you want to find the note of Mi in a 7 scale and then correlate it to the 3rd chakra, then that is going to help to stimulate and at least get your attention focused on that area. This is the area that is going to help you with achieving your greatest dreams and your desires, because if you don't have that self-confidence in your ability, and if you do not have your self-esteem that is balanced and aligned, the other higher consciousness chakras are not going to be easily accessible to you. You need to discover that foundation of confidence and self-esteem. And I'm going to read you something here that's really special about it. This is taken from actually the veda.wiki.org site. So this is based on the Vedas and the Vedic transcripts about the different chakras. It says the Manipura. The 3rd chakra is represented in the central nervous system by the solar plexus, where all nerves merge to form the 2nd brain. Of its 10 petals, 5 face up and 5 face down, correspondingly depending on how the energy is flowing. The forces of willpower from this chakra add power ether to worldly consciousness through the first 2 centers, or to spiritual consciousness through the 4th and 5th centers. When awareness is confined to the realms of memory, reason, and aggressive actions, this causes sometimes the unbalance of this area. Okay, so if a person is very stuck in their ego and they are only reliant on reason and logic, and they have this self-confidence and they want to take over the world, and this is where a lot of the elite leaders and a lot of corporate leaders actually live, is their energy is predominantly in their solar plex. So they are confident, they have their determination, but their heart chakra is not yet opened. So they're really, and their energies are completely focused on the idea of dominating over others, being aggressive, exerting your will over others. And this is what happens. So that's that aggressive nature, that competitive nature. That's where that comes from. It does come from that lower chakra of the solar plex. And like in all chakras, there's always the good, and there's always the imbalance. And so the good part of that area is it aids into your will and your determination and your motivation and your self-esteem in order to move forward into your higher states of consciousness. But if you are solely in that area and you live predominantly in that area, it will be about your ego, your domination over others, and your self-confidence can be actually taken as arrogance and pride. So that area is related to the sin of pride. So it's very important to learn how to balance that area so that you don't come off prideful and you are not arrogant, but you are confident. And that is it's a very fine line, but it really makes a world of difference in how it plays out in your reality. So the 10 petals, as I just read, they are the visual that you can imagine within that area around the back. If you want to focus on that area and really want to help, imagine the 5 petals are facing upwards and the 5 petals are facing down. And the 5 petals facing upward are the virtues and the values, goodwill, determination, self-confidence, reliance on yourself. These are the petals that are facing up, and the ones that are facing down are the ones that are going to inhibit your growth and just kind of keep you from moving forward. And I wrote this down here. Yeah, and according to Wiki, those actually then are some of the negative aspects of the Manipura chakra, which you need to balance, which then becomes, so thirst, jealousy, treachery, and fear, which is very true because fear is something that causes stomach aches. If you are somebody that has ever experienced great fear and worry and anxiety, it actually causes stomach aches. So your subtle body, your spiritual body, is actually connected to your physical body. So all these chakras have illnesses and diseases related to those areas. And that's why it's important to reach that balance emotionally and psychically, like in this immaterial realm, in order to then to reflect the healthiness of the body in the physical. So in that area, it also physically, because you have your physical body and you have your subtle body, in that area of the solar plex, that contains your digestive and metabolism area, where this is about you taking in energy from food sources and how it converts it and stores it as energy within the body or uses it. And so what you eat actually affects that area of that solar plex chakra. And that's why a lot of people are becoming vegetarians or vegans, or are at least limiting their diet intake from carbs and simple sugars and things like that. Because when you feed yourself food that's not very healthy for you and isn't really good for you, and it's not part of digesting that light energy, what ends up happening is you cause an imbalance in that area. So beyond just digestive issues, then you start to actually experience other types of emotional issues that are related to that area. A lot of people who are not happy with their weight, and if it is something that's not by a disease like a thyroid problem or something, and it's just strictly overeating, if you are an overeater and you develop that addiction to food, what then ends up happening is you get digestive issues and things like that, but it also affects your self-esteem. So it's so correlated, and your confidence is also related to your body health image, and you take your food in from that area. And that's why it's important to always be consciously aware of what you eat and what you intake, because you really do become what you eat. So that is that correlation between the physical body and the subtle body. I feel that this area is something that a lot of Elven ones kind of already have engaged, and they've learned how to balance it, because they've learned, and through the writings of Tolkien, you see that the elves know the fine line between arrogance and confidence, and they are warriors for a just cause and righteousness rather than dominating over others like the orcs or Sauron. So that's how you can kind of relate the Elven way. So I put down here that the Elven sacral chakra imagery that I use is having a golden bow or a sword within that area that's radiating golden light. And so it's not a violent weapon, it's a weapon of defense and security, of feeling confident that you can take on any type of invader that comes into your life, any kind of person who has an aggressive nature towards you. You can stand on your own 2 feet, and you can show your confidence in yourself. You know who you are, you know what your core is, and you are not going to allow people to take advantage of you and walk all over you. And that's something that I think comes very naturally to an elf. Like I was talking about in my other video about the paradoxical nature of elves. Elves may seem very gentle, and they love nature, and they're kind to animals, and they're healers, but there's also this very strong warrior side and warrior nature, and that is the solar plex area. It contains that warrior spirit. So if you learn how to balance it, you're not going to be just always a warrior and always, aggressive and dominating over others. You'll learn how to balance that so that you know when to be confident, you know when to be secure in yourself, but you're also able to get in touch with the higher consciousness levels in order to engage love and mercy and compassion and all that, and perception, which is very important. A lot of people in this world today, they live in the chakra. That's our military corporate leaders, that's our economic corporate leaders. These people demonstrate great confidence and power, but the other parts of them are not engaged. So that's what causes a lot of problems within society. We need leaders that are not only just sufficient in the solar plex area, but actually are also have the other areas, the other higher consciousness levels, the throat, the heart, the third eye, and especially the crown, that all of those are unblocked as well. So you have this divine energy flowing throughout you. And I think a lot of people do not like Trump for this particular reason. He is someone who exudes the solar plexus area. He exudes that. I mean, when you look at him, he looks like a big walking golden ball of solar plex energy, and that you can tell is his dominant nature within his body. He is not really balanced. You don't see him using his third eye. You don't see him using his heart chakra that much. There's points and times where you can see that breakthrough, but definitely it's hard for people to accept him as a wise figure in charge of a whole country, because he is this example and physical representation of the solar plex chakra. And that's why a lot of people have so many different opinions about him, especially if they are sensitive to energies and vibes. That is what they are seeing in him. So most warriors and leaders and people that are are in charge of making decisions in the world regarding war, economy, social structures. They live in the root, the sacral chakra, and the navel and the solar plexus. And these are all part of the physical world. This is about your ego identity, the dog-eat-dog world, survival of the fittest, of the root chakra. And then you have the sacral chakra, which is all about reproducing, making huge bloodlines that will carry on the power structure that they've had, and also the emotional nature of them, doing everything that is going to feel good. It's about their emotions and their feelings. And then you have them living at the solar plex, which is all about domination, willpower, confidence, exuding that. And so that is our issue. We have all those third dimension, the 3-dimension consciousness within power, and we really need to have the 4th dimension starting to be engaged, and the 5th dimension. And so this is how the consciousness of the chakra systems actually play out in the real world. If you want to learn how to balance the energy of the solar plex so that you have this inner warrior, you're in touch with your inner warrior, but you're also kind and gentle and compassionate, and you know when to pick your battles, then go ahead and click on the link in the description, and I will take you into the Elven realms in order for you to get in touch with your inner Elven warrior. Hanan Lei for watching, and I will see you on the next video.